Welcome to Yoga with Carly. We've been practicing together now for just about a year, and I'm really grateful to hear some of your feedback for some of you who are following online or watching on Shaw, just how these classes have been benefiting you and how you've been using these practices in everyday life. And since we've been practicing now for a year, we're going to change the show, kind of leading into a new direction to bring more educational aspects of yoga to really help you in your day-to-day life. So I hope you enjoy, and we've got a great show for you ahead today. One year ago, we started our first show with special guest Prasad Rangnekar of India, who's my yoga teacher. And we have him here today again, and we're going to teach you guys a mini workshop on balancing and grounding. So creating more balance and grounding in your lives, which, as we know, we all can use. So welcome, Prasad. Thanks again.
Thank you.
For coming.
Thank you.
And so this topic of balancing and creating more grounding in our lives is super important, and we all know that we need it. Why do you think this topic is so important nowadays?
I mean, look at the times that we are living in, right? I mean, there's not a day when we don't get the news about something stressful, something chaotic, something confusing that's happening around us and in the world as a whole. And no matter how much we may feel we are safe, secure, and grounded and relaxed, these inputs, these data, these news that we get from everywhere makes us unstable, makes us a little fearful, insecure about the future, if not the present. So I feel yoga has a huge role to play in today's times to bring us to a peaceful state of mind. Today, now is what we need. This message of yoga, that yoga is essentially a practice of creating more inner peace no matter what the state of the world is. So I think you have selected the perfect topic.
Yeah, because a lot of people view yoga as a physical practice of stretching, and that's what we see all over social media is
Absolutely.
people moving into pretzel poses.
Yes.
So why is yoga important on the mind? How does it work for the mind to de-stress, to ground, to feel comfortable within our own bodies? How does that work? And can you just share with us a little bit of what you know?
Well, I would like to take us back to the traditional orientation of yoga. I understand that yoga around the world is projected as a physical practice, but from its root point of view, yoga is not essentially only a physical practice, but yoga is a mental discipline. And the reason why we have this practice of yoga as a mental discipline is because the yogis of ancient times realized that suffering is a essential nature of our life, and everybody suffers. A rich person, a poor person, Indian, a Canadian, a woman, a man, a child, an old person, everybody suffers. Suffering means an unsteady state of happiness. So we all need some methods, some practices to hold us in our steady state of peace.
Right, and I think a lot of times people look outwardly for things to bring them happiness or for the next, diet or fad or whatever to make them feel comfortable and happy and peaceful.
Yes.
But those things, again, they rise and fall, their
Yes,
happiness.
they're transitory. If you look for peace, comfort, security externally, we have to understand the nature of world is very transitory. Today is happy, tomorrow is going to be sad. Today you feel good, tomorrow you're going to be feeling bad. So basically, the whole practice and orientation of yoga is to create inner peace. And that inner peace, that inner security, that inner faith, the inner confidence and courage helps us to deal with the ups and downs of life, helps us to navigate the ups and downs of life in a very steady state of mind. And that is the essential premise of yoga.
Absolutely. So, for someone who is maybe playing around with looking out there for ways to find more stability, that long-lasting stability and grounding in their lives, what are some tips that you can give such a person?
So, the way I look at it is, I look at it in two parts. If you are stressed, then what we can do in the immediate sense, and the practice that can take us to a steady state of inner peace over a period of time. So first I would like to talk about what can we do when the stress hits us out of nowhere. You know, sometimes you get a call, sometimes some project or something goes bad at work, somebody's not so well in the family, whatever the stress may be, how do we deal with it on an immediate basis? Number one, as you know, as a yoga teacher, and I'm sure people who practice yoga know this amazing strength and amazing tool that we have within us is our breath. So my first suggestion would be, the moment you feel stressed, or the moment you get some stressful news or stressful information, immediately focus on your breath, take a deep inhale, and make sure that you exhale completely and fully, and try to generate a very balanced state of inhalation and exhalation. Take that time to create a balanced state of inhalation and exhalation, and I guarantee that the impact that the stress will have on you will reduce.
Yeah, and what we see is yoga teachers, a lot of first-time students come in and they have difficulty breathing in the practice.
Yes.
And a lot of the time we see that these students are inhaling but not exhaling, which is the important way we let go of life stressors. So I think that's a really important point that you brought up, is to really focus on exhalation and letting go.
Yes, because even scientifically, if you see, from physiological point of view, when you exhale deeply, fully, and long, you kick in your parasympathetic, the relax, the rest and digest nervous system. So that is the first tip that I would give, is the moment you feel stressed, pull your attention to your breath, try to make the breath steady. As we know, when we are stressed out, the breath is going all over the place, the breath is not at all steady. That is the time you tend to inhale a lot as a saving mechanism. So that's when you should go for a deep exhale. The second technique that I would suggest is create a sentence. We call it affirmation. Create an affirmation for yourself. A simple sentence, something like, I am happy and at peace, or I am safe and secure, I love and trust myself. You sit down with yourself and make a small sentence for yourself that can work as your anchor. And in the moments of stress, just start repeating that statement to yourself. And that statement is going to be your anchor in the stressful times. So with breath and this affirmation, you are looking at both the physiological and the psychological aspects of keeping you at peace in that moment.
Yeah, and I know, because I've used that many times, that it definitely works.
And third one, and I highly recommend this, is don't feel shy or feel bad to reach out for support. I feel that is very important. We usually feel that I can manage it all by myself, or we feel, why should I disturb others? Why should I call them? They are busy in their own life. Don't do that. we are social beings. We live to help each other. So my third and very important point is have a select group of friends, as they say, midnight friends or 3 a.m. friends, that you can call up at any given time and they can at least hear you out. They may not immediately come over to help you or whatever, but at least they can hear you out, because talking about the stress is a very good form of relieving stress. So these 3 points on an immediate basis, I think, will help bring down the stress to a large extent.
Absolutely. Okay, so anything else to share with us before we get into the practice we're going to do and teach the group today?
Let's first do the practice, and then we are going to leave you with 8 tips on how to create a stress-free, balanced, grounded life forever. So what we gave you right now was 3 immediate techniques, but later on, after the practice, we will give you good 8 tips that you can leverage through your life to create a balanced and grounded life for yourself. Welcome. Now we will give you a few techniques to practice every day at your home so that you feel balanced and grounded throughout your life. But remember, just like we brush our teeth every day, just like we have shower every day, these practices are also to be practiced every day. You cannot practice them once in a while or whenever you feel like, because we have to get used to these practices. The practice has to become habit, and when the practice becomes a habit, only then it will work. Otherwise, it will not work permanently or whenever you want it to work. So these practices are very simple. They don't take much time. So we've designed them to fit in your day-to-day life. So the first practice that we will work with is a simple breath. In yoga, we call this the so-hum breath. So, because when we inhale, the sound is s sound, and when we exhale, the sound is the ha sound. So the texts of yoga, the ancient books of yoga, call this the so-hum breath. So when we inhale deeply and completely, and when we exhale nicely and deeply. We inhale deeply, completely, and we exhale nice and long. Inhaling deeply and exhaling completely. Make sure that your inhalations and exhalations are even, and gradually, as you progress, say after a month or month and a half, you can try to slightly deepen or elongate your exhalation. As you can see here, Carly is exhaling through the mouth. Now, for many of us who are not used to breathing consciously or breathing mindfully, it will be very difficult for those people to exhale deeply through the nose. For such people, we recommend to start by breathing out through the mouth. So as you can see, when she purses the lips, she can exhale nicely in a controlled way, and that controlled exhalation is what we need. So again, inhaling deeply through the nose and exhaling completely through the mouth. Inhaling deeply through the nose and exhaling completely through the mouth. Now, something very important is you don't have to inhale to the max or you don't have to exhale all the way till you feel drained. Stay in your normal range of motion and inhale and exhale in such a range that your second breath or the breath that follows doesn't feel compromised. Stay in balanced and try to make the breaths as rhythmic and as soft as possible. Remember, as rhythmic and as soft as possible. So these are the 2 points that we pay attention to: generating a consistent rhythm in the breath, and number 2, generating softness of the breath. Now the second technique that we practice is breathing into the lower part of the ribs. So what Carly will do is, Carly will hold the lowermost part of the ribs, and the breathing technique continues. The reason why we do this procedure of holding the ribs and breathing is to bring our attention inward. Okay? So Carly is going to close her eyes, and the moment she holds the ribs, she's going to try to sense the ribs move as she breathes. When she inhales, the ribs open up as the lungs expand, and when she exhales, the ribs collapse lightly. As she inhales, the ribs expand, fade outward, and as she exhales, the ribs collapse. Even here, you try to keep the rhythm and the softness of the breath. As you can see, nowhere you see any stress or any anxiousness or any strain while she is doing this exercise. The most important part of this exercise is that it keeps the mind inward. The whole attention is on noticing or becoming aware of how the ribs move away when you inhale and how the ribs move back when you exhale. So stay with this attentiveness. Be mindful of the rhythm of your breath and the rhythm of your ribs, and stay with that rhythm. Do not try to unnecessarily extend your inhale or exhale. The third exercise that we do is in yoga called as Brahmari. So what we'll do is, she will keep the hands down on her knees. It's called a bumblebee breath, or sometimes also called as humming. So what we'll do is, Carly will inhale through the nose, and as she exhales, she will create a humming sound. The humming sound that is much more guttural in the throat and that vibrates all the way up to the navel. So Carly will demonstrate it. Carly will inhale deeply, and as she exhales, take a little pause, inhale. One last time, inhale. Nice and smooth. You can feel the effortlessness in the way she did it. Try to maintain the same effortlessness in your practice. There's no need to rush. Remember, we are looking at these practices as a lifestyle program. We are looking at them as something sustainable, not a once in a while practice. So there's absolutely no reason to be impatient with yourself. Just look at it as an everyday practice and stick with it. The benefits are amazing, and you will really sense the benefits within a couple of weeks of starting the practice. Now we are going to look at a very, very important resting pose. It's called CRP, or constructive rest pose, and we will do something called as shavasana in this CRP position. So Carly will take 2 bolsters and put them under her knees. So the main point of this pose is to raise the level of the knees so that the deeper muscles that are usually used to walk or to sit or to run or to stand relax. So this is a constructive rest pose, which you can do it at home also. Just lie down, tuck a couple of pillows under your knees, and extend your arms, especially the shoulder area, because many people are inwardly rotated, as we call it. The shoulders are slouched in. So it's very important to extend the arms, roll the palms so that the palms face up, and the shoulders are nicely grounded into the floor. Another thing to watch here is that the neck region should not be hyperextended this way. So make your head straight so that the chin is slightly tucked in, so that the pressure is taken away from the cervical spine area, the spine that holds the head in place. Once these 3 points are nicely under control, we just exhale deeply and relax. Now we are ready for shavasana. Shavasana is the ultimate rest position in Hatha Yoga. So I am going to gradually guide Carly into shavasana. Inhale deeply, and as you exhale, feel the cares and the worries of the day flow out of you. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. And as you exhale, feel your whole body consciously relax. As you inhale, exhale deeply. If the mind flies away, don't worry, bring your mind back to the breath. Now we'll take a journey of awareness through our entire body. Become aware of your feet. Inhale deeply, and as you exhale, feel your feet relax. Move your attention to your ankles. Inhale deeply, and as you exhale, feel your ankles relax. Inhale, and as you exhale, feel your calves and your shin relax. Inhale, and as you exhale, feel your knees relax. Inhale, and as you exhale, feel your thighs and the back of the thighs relax. Inhale. And as you exhale, feel your pelvis and lower back relax. Inhale. Become aware of your entire lower body and relax. Inhale. Become mindful of your entire lower body and relax. Now move your attention to your belly. Inhale. And as you exhale, relax the belly and all the organs in your belly. Inhale. And as you exhale, feel your ribs relax. Inhale. As you exhale, feel your spine relax. Become aware of your spine and consciously relax. Inhale. And as you exhale, feel your chest relax. Inhale. And as you exhale, feel your arms relax all the way up to your fingertips. Inhale. And as you exhale, feel your upper back relax. Inhale. And as you exhale, feel your neck relax. All the tension from your neck and your jaw melting away. Inhale. And as you exhale, feel your face relax. Inhale. And as you exhale, feel your head relax. Inhale, visualize your entire upper body, and as you exhale, relax the upper body. Inhale, visualize your upper body, and relax your upper body as you exhale. Now, visualize your entire body, the legs, the pelvis, the arms, the chest, the head, the whole body. Inhale, exhale, and relax the entire body. Inhale, exhale, and relax the whole body. Let's just stay for some time in this quiet and peaceful state of body and mind. With that state of relaxation, knowing that this relaxation is with you all the time, we gently start moving our feet and our hands. We move the head from side to side, becoming aware of your entire body. Give a nice long stretch to the whole body. Take a deep inhale and exhale. Become aware of where you are. And whenever you feel comfortable, roll over on one side. And gently push with one hand and sit up. So how do you feel, Carly?
Amazing. Very, very relaxed.
Yes. So these methods are very simple and very practical. Make sure that you practice them and reach a stable and sustainable state of grounding and peace in your whole life.
Right, welcome back. So we're going to talk about those 8 tips we mentioned earlier about how we can bring more balance and grounding into our lives. So Prasad, what do you have for us for these tips?
Yes. So the first and the most important tip is slowing down. And we know how our life has become fast in today's times, and how the days, the months just go on without we realizing how much we have ignored ourselves. So it's high time that we try to slow ourselves down. And some interesting tips to slow down are to talk slowly, to walk slowly, to eat slowly. So whatever regular actions that we do, try to do them a little slower. Generally, we don't like to be slower because we feel that we are going to lose out on many things. But that doesn't have to happen. I have seen through my life and through life of many people that have slowed down their life has become more efficient.
Well, I think society tells us the more productive we are, the more we rush around, the more productive we become. And so we're stuck in that trap of thinking that we need to create more and busy. And what we don't realize is that we're missing so much when we're just plowing through life, not really conscious of ourselves. So
slow down
is super important.
and become more conscious of what you do instead of doing things out of impulsiveness. That's the message of yoga. The second tip is, and it goes along well with the first tip, is to simplify your life. Because if you are in this unbridled pursuit of doing time and again, then you realize you have collected a lot of things that you don't really need, right? It's been so many years that you've cleaned your shelf. It's been so many years that you have purged your wardrobe. So take time to simplify your life. And that simplification is going to happen only when you make a list of priorities.
Yeah.
So if something doesn't figure in the initial 4 or 5 numbers of priority, then just don't invest much time and energy into that. So simplification, or how to simplify your life, is a very, very important tip that can help us balance our life.
Yeah, I think we become so trapped in this mindset where we feel obligated to do so much. And, you know, even if it's signing your kids up for sports, they're in 5 different sports, and then we lose time out for ourselves and what we need to really do. So that prioritization, to just simplify, like you said, pick 4 things or 5 things that are important, and then start to cut back on the things that aren't important to you.
Yes, the way I look at simplifying, process of simplification is the knowing of where to put in my energy. And our third tip, the third point, goes very well along with the second point, and that is generating clarity. And this is very, very important, because what I realize is the more ambiguity I have in my life, the more my system, my body, my mind system becomes stressed. You know, so it is our responsibility to be very clear. Clear means knowing why I do what I do. And when you have that clarity, the strength, the faith, the power, the energy that is needed aligns itself beautifully, and your actions, your thoughts, will become very balanced. And that's why generating clarity, it could be self-clarity, clarity that you have about yourself, or clarity about what you want to do in life. Whatever. Clarity is a very generalized umbrella. So try to be very clear as much as you can. There are some things that we cannot be clear about, but try to generate clarity as much as you can in the things that you do. So there's less ambiguity, and because of less ambiguity, there'll be less confusion, and because of less confusion, there'll be less stress in your life. The fourth point is a very important point, is to give yourself attention. It's very, very important to give ourselves attention, because in our busyness that we tend to glorify, we forget ourselves. Especially if you are a woman, if you have a family, if you are a parent, everything and everyone becomes a priority, and we ignore ourselves. That should not happen.
Yeah, and we also are told when we're completely thinking about ourselves that we're self-centered, but
Yes.
something you always tell us is it's not being self-centered, but it's being centered in the self.
Absolutely.
Which I think, always stuck with me is making myself a priority and knowing that when I take care of myself, then all those around me benefit as well.
Absolutely. Especially if people who are decision makers, like for example a mother or a father or a parent, if the parents don't take care of themselves, don't give attention to themselves, don't invest time and energy in their own self-care, then the whole family will suffer. Imagine a woman or a mother giving all her attention and all her energy to the children. The mother will fall sick, and if the mother falls sick, the whole family dynamics and the logistics, the day in and day out, the mundane logistics will collapse. And that's why I would highly recommend that we start giving ourselves some attention. And for this, we need to start by paying attention to our body first. So create a regular exercise program. Do your yoga practice thrice a week. Go for long walks or join a gym, whatever it may be. Invest time in your physical fitness. Number 2, very important, take care of what you eat. Right? Eating right is very important, because if you are going to eat out of emotion, if you are going to eat out of stress, if you are going to eat out of nervousness, the things that you will end up choosing to eat will not be conducive for your own growth. And that's why it's very important to become more aware, become more mindful of what you eat as an individual and also as a family unit. And the third one is self-care.
Absolutely.
It's very important to care for yourself. And it's not selfish to invest your time and energy in caring for yourself. That may include, again, going for your exercises, eating a nice meal, eating healthy, or just
relaxation.
Absolutely.
Resting.
Or once in a while going to a nice spa and treating yourself. You yourself are a very, very important asset to your family unit and the society. The next point is what you mentioned. Take time to rest, relax, and recreate. This is very, very important. Let's be honest. How many of us crash into bed every night? We sleep out of exhaustion. We sleep because we are very, very tired. And even if you ask the doctors, the amount of adrenal fatigue and other ailments like this is increasing. These ailments are on the rise. That's because we don't give time for ourselves, and we don't give quality time for ourselves. We don't rest enough. Till 12 o'clock, 12:30 at night, we are online, or we are watching a movie, or we are just plain busy. So get enough rest. Feel free to say no to others, to take time for yourself, for your own rest and relaxation. Try and get at least 7 to 8 hours of sleep.
Well, I think as well, if we don't follow those first 3 steps of slowing down and prioritization and generating clarity, then what suffers is our own self-care, because we're not taking that time to slow down and give ourselves room and space for self-care and relaxation. So without those first 4
Yes.
step by step.
Yes.
To get
like
to
like you say, these are not boxes. Even if you start with one point, it's going to feed into the other.
Absolutely.
Right? So next point, the 6th point, is physically try to be aware of your body, your posture, and your breath. For example, the way you sit. If you are sitting a lot and working, some of us have to sit for 6, 7 hours, 8 hours, 10 hours every day at work. So are you going to sit like this, or are you going to sit like this? Because the way we hold our body also gives data to the brain. If you're going to sit in a slouching position with the head jutting out for 8 hours a day, the whole physiological message changes. So any day, any time, an erect body position is better for stress management than a slouched position, right? So it's very important to be aware of the body and the breath. Throughout the day, be aware, be mindful of how you're breathing. Once in a while, if you want, you can set up alarms. Once in half an hour, set up an alarm in your phone. Just to take 2-3 minutes break, close your eyes, and breathe deeply.
Yeah, and there's many great apps for that
Yes.
too, because we realize how important it is.
Absolutely. Now 2 more points. The 7th point, and I feel it's very important socially, create deeper connections with like-minded people.
Yeah.
We live in a time where quantity is glamorized, is stressed upon more than quality. We need to go back to creating few but solid, tight relationships.
Yeah.
Friends, relatives that you can really, really express to, share with. And this close-knit community that you gather around yourself can really, really give you a sense of deep security.
Yeah.
Right? Having 5,000 friends on Facebook and nobody to call upon when you really need them is not really what will help you. But having 2-3 friends or a set of friends who gel with you on a mental level, who understand you, who don't judge you, even if you have a handful of friends like that, then you really feel secure, you feel unjudged, and therefore you feel less stressed.
Yeah, and I think the more you take time to know yourself, the more you kind of radiate the energy and attract those people around you who bring some meaning into your life instead of just the small talk kind of
they will come naturally
conversations.
to you. Such people will gather around you and you'll have a close-knit family of friends. Okay? And the last point, very, very important, be present. And don't allow your mind to create unnecessary future predictions, especially in times of stress or in times when you have nothing much to do in the day. Worrying about the future is perhaps the greatest pastime in the world.
And the greatest waste of time
Absolutely.
in the world.
Not just waste of time, it's also waste of energy. Imagine for 15 minutes you are worrying about the future, you feel so drained, right? So when we can't help it, it's a very impulsive, automatic process. The mind will go into the future and go into the zone of what if, maybe, this zone of ambiguity that creates stress. Whenever you find your mind going there and getting worried about, just come back. Come back to the present. Tell yourself, hey, that's in the future, it may or may not happen, but right now I should be in the present and just breathe. So just recapping for one last time. Number 1, slow down. Number 2, simplify. Number 3, generate clarity. Number 4, give yourself time, attention through self-care, creating a nice exercise routine for yourself, being conscious of what you eat, etc. Number 5, take time to rest and relax. Don't feel guilty to take a little nap in the afternoon. Don't feel bad to say no if you don't want to go out with your friends one day or so. Number 6, physically be aware of your body posture and your breath throughout the day as much as possible. Number 7, create deeper connections with like-minded people. And number 8, be present and avoid unnecessary future projections. So I hope these 8 tips help you create grounding and balance. They definitely will, because both Carly and I have practiced this for many, many years in our lives, and we feel our life is a little more balanced and grounded than what it was before. Right, Carly?
Absolutely. Yeah, life has just become a lot more effortless through these 8 things and through the practices we shared with you today. So thank you, Prasad, for joining us again for our 2nd season of Yoga with Carly. And I hope you all enjoyed this little workshop on how to create more grounding and balance in your life. Thanks for watching.